go first.
All right.
So,
We're gonna see.
I played Floowandereeze today and last week at locals, and this is my deck profile. It's very standard, but there is a little bit of a spice in there.
White Nikes.
So of course you got your 3 Rubinas.
No,
This is your main searcher of the deck. If you know what Floowandereeze does, then you already know, but I will go in depth. This will search any level 4 or lower winged beast. It doesn't restrict you to Floowandereeze, so that's how they search Barrier. And also in my deck, I have a Samorg monster I'll search. But I've also, after successful resolution of any of these, you gain an additional normal summon right after it, which is basically the whole gimmick. And then you have your other searcher, England, which does 7 or higher winged beasts. Also not specific to Floowandereeze, which is why you play Ryza or Mist Valley Apex, mainly both. So he's pretty good. And once again on res, you get your additional normal summon. And then also, they all have the effect that whenever they would leave the field, if they're face up, they get banished. So if they were to like return it to your hand, it's banished as long as it's face up on the field. And like if they were to spin it to the deck, it gets banished. If it's face up on the field and would leave it, it banished. Unless if you like book a moon it, then it would go to the graveyard. Play the 1 of Toucan and the 1 of Stree. Both of these guys you don't really want to see in your opening hand, but they're really nice to get in rotation as soon as possible because this one can get you to where you contribute your opponent's cards more than once because you can banish like an infin and then add it back from your banish pile and then normal summon the infin using this and one of your opponent's cards. Stree can get infin engraved to help you get to this, but Stree's also good for just banishing problem cards. It's kind of like DD Crow. Doesn't come up the most, but it's just nice and works pretty well with Toucan. Once again, on successful resolution, you get an additional normal summon. So that's it for the flues. The other main dude in here is this man, Smorg Bird of Perfection. Now this guy's really cool. So whenever you normal summon any of your Floowandereeze monsters, you can reveal them in your hand, and then immediately after that resolves, normal summon him, which chain blocks your normal summon of whatever you did. And then also, it chain blocks the next thing you do because it has an on-summon effect to dump a card, to dump itself, namely because you have to dump a some more card and you only play this. And then you get a search the field spell, which is like map at home, it's really nice because it also makes it to where you can tribute for 1 less tribute. So if you don't have unexplored wins and you want to get it off of Infin and still have another monster up on field for whatever reason, then he allows you to do that. And the field spell is pretty nice because lets you gain 300 attack, helps you OTK a little bit better since this deck kind of sucks at it. And of course you got the 1 of Barrier statue. I mean, neither player can special summon wind monsters. Not the best against Virtual World specifically, but it kind of crushes on every other deck. They can still summon Baron, but it's really hard to summon Baron without special summoning beforehand.
Well, if you have no monsters on field, you can special Baron.
Yeah, if it's in the graveyard and you monster reborn it. Or
no, like if it's in your hand.
Oh, how?
It's if it's you have no monsters or if you control Adventure Token.
You're
So if you just if you just open
Griffin, yeah.
If you just open Griffin, you could special Griffin.
Griffin's really good against this deck, low key. So for the tributes, we play 2 Infin. You don't really need 3, and Snoll's not really that great this format. Snoll is insanely good if you have if it's your turn specifically and you have unexplored wins because you can basically just get rid of your opponent's entire board by summoning multiple times. But you also need the tributes for that, and it just makes the more tribute monsters you put in here, the brickier your deck is, and it's bad enough already running 4, but they need to be there, otherwise you can't search off of Eaglin. If you don't have a target for Eaglin, you don't get your extra normal summon, then he's just going to sit there. But this guy's really cool. Not a once per turn on him, so you can literally search with him twice. The only effect that's once per anything is his once per battle effect, the half attack of a monster that's swinging into him, which is really good because it makes him stay on the board for a little while. But if he gets Regeki'd, the only way you're getting him back is if you Stree it and then Toucan it back to your hand. We play Apex Avian. This card's really, really good in this deck because you can negate something and then it goes back to your hand. And if you still have a normal summon with, of course, unexplored wins on the field, you can remove one of their cards and then get him out, which is also not a once per turn on the negate. It's once per chain, if I remember right. Yes, once per chain. So, very good card for the deck. it's just an omni, you know, returns to your hands, so you contribute it again, so it's really nice. Then you play Ryza. Ryza is by far kind of like the sealer of the deal, because you can stack your opponent's top deck into trash, and you can even stock yours with another pot as long as it's in your graveyard. And also, if you do it on their turn, you can just get rid of their board for a little bit. And like I said, stack their next top deck so they can't do anything with it. So the only thing they're working with is their hand and field. And this guy helps you clear up the field, get shit back in the hand, and also back to the top deck. And it's just really nice. He's pretty versatile, and he's definitely, I think, is the scariest monster of this deck. Yeah, he's really correct. And then for hand traps, I only play 3 because I don't have 3 Droll and Lockbird, but you would definitely play 3 Droll and Lockbird, but you play 3 D-Shifter. This card's really good, and another deck it's going to be really good in, Post-Pope, which comes out tomorrow, is Exo Sisters. Exo Sisters don't really care about the graveyard at all turn 1, and honestly, just for the rest of the duel, if they got D-Shifter, they really just don't give a fuck, because their monsters stay on the field, and that's what they want them to do. They don't do anything really with their graveyard. In fact, if you, Martha, like, I think if you have something to do in your graveyard, can special summon itself, or not that. It's like fucking rank up shit. It's like XZs using monsters you control if a card's moved out of the graveyard or something. Martha's the one that does both, but you really don't care if you get anything in grave, so that's another good deck to run that in. Like I said, also run 3 Droll, but that's it for hand traps. Run 3 Advent. This card's really good, helps you stay in the game because you get a search, and also 800 life points is, I mean, it's not negligible, it's pretty okay, it's helped me out a few times. The main focus of this card is the fact that it's a quick play, and it can also, I want to make sure you guys know, banish any winged beast. So if you have a brick in your hand, like a Ryza or Infin or any of the winged beasts, because you run like all the monsters are winged beasts except for the hand traps. You can banish that and then add a monster, Floowandereeze monster or map, which is really good. And then this can also be used to not chain block, like you normal summon Rubina, and then you want a Veiler or Imperm specifically, you like target negate. You can just banish it, get it off the field, and then they can't target it to negate it, which is pretty sweet. Then you play 3 map. Magnificent Map. Magnificent Map is another one of the best cards in this deck, because on like if you have this plus any bird in your hand, you're getting your full setup with barrier, unless if you have like if you have this plus any bird, except like Stray and Toucan, but even Stray and Toucan can still get you Infin and Set Dreaming Town, which is really good. But honestly, the way I like to do it, unless if you like just don't know what you're going against. If you know what you're going against and they need a normal summon, don't search Dreaming Town, search this card, which I'll go over this in just a little bit, but this card lets you tribute off their monsters, but it does other shit too. But if they normal summon, you get it immediately normal summon right after them, and then you start your whole chain thing, and if you have wins up, you can start removing their board or remove the monster they just normal summoned, which is really good. Also, like its main effect is revealing one in your hand and then banishing a Floowandereeze monster, Floowandereeze card from your deck. So that's really good because you can just banish any of your spells or traps, and then you can add it. Alrighty.
We're just wrapping up now.
You can add back like Advent or anything if you have Toucan, so it's kind of like a search with that, but you also don't use up your normal summon, which is really nice, so you can normal summon twice, which is really good, obviously. Final card of the Floowandereeze spells is Unexplored Winds, which is a very good card. I've considered running more of it, but like you really don't need to, because if it goes in your grave, you can stree it, and then Toucan can add it back, so like you don't need another copy to brick you up. And it also helps you unbrick. You can reveal winged beasts. And once again, it's not specific to Floowandereeze, so if you have like tributes in your hand or some more, and you don't want some more because you can already chain block, or you have 2 of them, you can just send them back to the bottom of the deck, and you get a draw 2, which is very, very, very nice. The main effect of it is if you tribute summon a monster requires 2 tributes, it has to be 2, so you can't like 1 tribute off one of your opponent's cards and keep yours. But it has to be 2 tributes, and you can send 1 card you control to the graveyard, and 1 card your opponent controls to the graveyard. Now this isn't they're not. It's a tribute summon, but it's not considered a tribute per se. So if they have Mask of Restrict, this is your only way you're going to be able to get out your big boards because it technically doesn't tribute. So, and then the other field spell we play, Map at Home, is this. You can search this off of the normal summon of Samorg, Bird of Perfection, and basically it gives you 300 attack and defense with your wind-winged beasts, only wind, not the water ones. And if you can reveal a level 5 or higher winged beast monster in your hand, and then you can tribute summon with one less tribute that turn, pretty sure. And then the other effect is if you control a winged beast monster, you gain just a free normal summon, just as long as it's winged beast monster. So, and they're all winged beasts, so it's a good card. Helps you a lot of the times whenever your things aren't going your way. It's a better card to have in there than something like, I don't know, it's just a good card to have. I've always been playing Flow with it, so don't really know how it feels to play without it. You play 3 Pot of Duality because this deck is really bricky, so you need to play all 9 of them low-key to have the best success outcome. But this card's really good. It locks you out of special summoning. You don't care. But if you are playing extra deck stuff, you do care. But I'm sure you kind of have an idea of what you're doing. You don't really special summon on your first turn if you have the extra deck. But it's also really good just to add a card. You know, it's good Ash bait if you already have like full combo in hand. Well, full combo, just Robina in hand. And you can just do this, and then hopefully they'll waste their Ash on this instead of Robina. Play 3 Extrav as well because you need all the draw power you can possibly get. This banishes random targets, so if you do play an extra deck, you need to play 3 of every single card. And if you're trying to run Zeus in this shit's going to make you very unhappy at times because I was running Zeus on like EDO or something, and the amount of times I banished like all my Lyrilusks or banished my Downward Magician or just straight up banish Zeus, kind of crazy. So you can't really rely on your extra deck too much if you use this card. But you won't always use it, and you can get lucky. You won't banish the shit you need. But luckily, I don't have to care about banishing my extra deck card targets. Run 2 Book of Moon.
It requires monsters.
This should be Droll.
Yeah, that was my main.
Along with this next one of spell, Golden Sarcophagus. But these 2 help block Imperm and Veiler, which is the crux of the deck. Like, it just kills you. And then Sarcophagus is just for consistency. Banish any one of the birds, more than likely Robina or Eaglin. And then you get to add them whenever you normal summon a Winged Beast monster. Or if you're really down bad, it'll just add it to your hand on the second standby phase so you can actually play. But hopefully you're never like that. And more than likely, if you're like that in this format, you're just dead. That easy. Traps, you play the 1 of Dreaming Town. This card's awesome. It's basically forced map, so if they don't normal summon, this is the only way of normal summoning on their turn. And then a real nice effect on it, some people forget about, is if you normal summon a level 7 or higher monster, does that have to be Winged Beast? Yeah, no, it's just a level 7 or higher monster. You can banish it from a graveyard and then UCT your opponent's whole field, which is fucking cool. Just flip them face down. And then the last of the 3 ofs, which I want to be Prosperity, but I don't have $300 right now, so you run this. If you get left with just Eaglin on field, you can activate this, and if they need monster effects, they're fucked for that turn. Then you can get your next turn to draw and try and salvage what you got. But other times this card's just gonna be dead, and you're gonna wish you don't run it. It's really good as a 2-of in the side deck. I found out, but I'm just running it so I can. If I get Ash, then I won't be completely ruined. Oh no! Alright. And for the spiciest spice, it's for the extra deck. Now, I've spent hours and days and even weeks crafting this. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. These are my children. This one's Fred, that's Tom, that's Wade, that's Chaz, that is Nathan, this is some guy, I don't know, he stole my money. This guy's Marcus, that's Chris Pratt, not Chris Hensley. Yeah, they all have names, but I'm not going to go into them. But yeah, it's beautiful. That's the deck. Floowandereeze.